Today's episode of the Nourish with Renata podcast is a little bit different because I wanted to comment on a very controversial article that has occurred over the last week in the Washington Post. This is an article entitled Women Are Getting Off Birth Control Amid Misinformation Explosion by Lauren Weber and Sabrina Malhi, which was published on the 21st of March at 6 a.m. EDT. The article is linked in the description box if you'd like to take a look. This article has been heavily commented on in social media, and I want to bring an informative and educational response to this article to help you understand what are the really important things to consider when it comes to articles such as this, and especially when it comes to the issue of birth control and if you want to continue using it or begin using it. I will say first and foremost that this is my opinion on this article, and everyone is entitled to their opinion. All I ask is that you consider these opinions and the opinions of others and not turn this into a personal attack on any one person or organization. First of all, we're going to do a brief overview of the Washington Post article. This article touts that social media influencers are providing misleading videos on hormonal contraception, stating that numerous negative side effects are being experienced, such as weight gain, infertility, depression, and anxiety. A doctor is interviewed in this article saying that, quote, people are putting themselves out there as experts on birth control and speaking to things that science does not bear out, leading to this particular doctor seeing more abortions occurring and women traveling to get abortions from all over the US. The article also interviews someone that they call, and I quote, a not licensed medical specialist by the name of Nicole Bendayan, whom they say is a cycle-syncing nutritionist. Based upon Nicole's own experience, she had many negative side effects from hormonal birth control, which stopped when she stopped taking hormonal birth control. As a result, Nicole aims to help other women with their hormones due to her own experience of improving her health, as well as being ignored by multiple different doctors. The article states that in recent years, an industry around regulating hormones is, quote, a cash grab, and there is no proven science to hormonal balancing regimes, which, and I also quote, are pushed by some social media influences such as Bendayan. Social media platforms like TikTok are also removing videos linking birth control to mental health and other health problems, stating that they are inaccurate, misleading, or false content, causing significant harm to individuals or society. I also want to point out that in the article, these videos were removed after the Washington Post asked TikTok about them and about the spreading of misinformation. This article highlights a few political perspectives as well, stating that the conservatives are using birth control narratives to prey upon the mistrust of medical professionals. A right-wing pundit is stating that birth control side effects are a, quote, political third rail, and that many women have experienced medical gaslighting due to the pharmaceutical industry and legacy media. Republican legislators in Missouri have tried unsuccessfully to stop the state's Medicaid from covering IUDs and emergency contraceptives. There is even an opinion that influences messaging may be helping to drive potential legislation limiting birth control access. There are some facts listed here in this particular article. It states from a 2018 to 2019 federal study, 14% of women between the ages of 15 to 49 years of age use oral contraceptive pills. 10% are using long-acting reversible contraceptives like an IUD or intrauterine device. Women ages 15 to 29 who reported having had sex previously dropped their pill usage from 82% to 79%, and IUD usage went up to 15%. The article states that all medication has side effects, some rare and some serious. Birth control pills containing estrogen lead to blood clots and strokes, and IUDs can potentially perforate the uterine wall. The FDA states that the risk of developing blood clots is low, 3 to 9 women out of 10,000, less than the risk during pregnancy and postpartum. Now, let's chat about two of the main themes that I see in this Washington Post article. The first is the impact of social media and influencers. I want to remind everyone that social media is a tool, and almost anyone can post anything on social media. It can be correct or it can be incorrect. So as with anything, blaming social media influencers for something, or even blanket naming of people on social media who have several thousand followers as only social media influencers, doesn't accurately portray an individual and what their mission is. It's important for each of us to do our homework on any person, information, or medication that we hear about. This is what being an informed and educated consumer is. Also, just because someone is on social media doesn't mean that they are money grabbing. The majority of women business owners that I know personally and on social media are providing a valuable service to women. Many of them are also well-educated, certified at least once, sometimes twice or three times from reputable organizations, as well as being people such as naturopathic doctors, mental health professionals, and health professionals in general. This doesn't mean that their opinions are anything less than the doctor that is interviewed in the Washington Post article. In addition, these women health practitioners are here to help women, typically based on some of their own experience, much like I am. I had long-term use of hormonal birth control and honestly did not realize the slow and steady degradation to my health. I did plenty of my own research, and I am also certified in nutrition coaching by 2 reputable organizations. I saw that the impact of my own hormonal dysregulation was real. I saw side effects, and I also was able to connect with other women who were seeing side effects such as what I was seeing. So I use my knowledge and my passion to help women just as I did to help myself. The second thing that I want to touch upon is scientific research and women's experience. Now, scientific research is happening all the time. And yes, the doctor mentioned in the article does say that there is not scientific research to prove all certain negative side effects from the hormonal birth control and what these women are experiencing. So I want to be really, really clear when it comes to scientific research. Just because there is not enough scientific research to say that these negative side effects are occurring does not mean that these negative side effects are not real. It just means that we've not adequately studied these side effects yet. A simple Google search will show you that the money spent to research conditions that affect women or funding for women's health in general is significantly less than men's health historically. So if there is less money being spent on women's health research, then less studies are coming out and even less evidence through scientific research is being produced. Once again, a scientific research paper is not the be-all and end-all. However, some people do treat it like this. Anecdotally, I've heard personally countless women who have had negative side effects from hormonal birth control, including myself, as I mentioned earlier. And these negative side effects are becoming more researched in recent papers. However, these papers do show that more research is needed because the human body is complex and multiple factors affect us. If we as a society really want to understand the effects of hormonal birth control, we need to start listening to these negative side effects that women are experiencing, listening with compassion and listening with the intent to create a better solution, not just sweeping it under the rug and claiming it's all in your head because the scientific paper doesn't spell it out specifically. In addition, I want to point out that there are various scientific research papers that have been done and what they are saying. There's a study from 2021 that looked at the leading causes of why women are stopping hormonal birth control. This is a direct quote from the article. A total of 42 articles were included for full text analysis. 8 main categories emerged as reasons for rejecting hormonal contraception: problems relating to physical side effects, altered mental health, negative impact on sexuality, concerns about future fertility, invocation of nature, concerns about menstruation, fears, anxiety, and the delegitimization of the side effects of hormonal contraceptives. These arguments against hormonal contraception appear complex and multifactorial. Future research should examine the provider-patient relationship, the gender bias of hormonal contraception, and demands for naturalness in order to understand how birth control could better meet the needs and expectations of women and men in Western countries today. Another study looked at the psychological side effects of hormonal birth control. The results from this paper state, and I quote, of the 188 responses included in the analysis, 43.6% reported experiencing mood changes as a side effect of hormonal contraception at some point in their lives. The most common reason participants cited for discontinuing or switching contraception methods was side effects, 48.3%. Participants with a history of psychiatric illness were significantly more likely to report mood changes as a side effect of their hormonal contraception, 61.2%. compared to participants with no history of psychiatric illness, 29.5%. Among patients with a history of psychiatric illness, 38.8% responded that their psychiatric symptoms worsened with hormonal contraception, while only 11.2% responded that their symptoms improved with hormonal contraception. The majority, 83% of participants, responded that their provider never mentioned the possibility of psychological side effects during contraception counseling. If or when they experienced side effects associated with hormonal contraception, 22.7% of participants disagreed that their provider adequately addressed their concerns. The conclusion from this paper states, these findings suggest that mood changes may be among the most common perceived side effects of hormonal contraception and speak to a disconnect between patients and providers when it comes to discussing the possibility of psychological side effects with hormonal contraception. Another study looked at the impact of using hormonal birth control with the use of NSAIDs, or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as aspirin, ibuprofen, and naproxen, to name a few. The conclusion from this study states, NSAID use was positively associated with the development of venous thromboembolism, which is a blood clot forming in a vein, in women of reproductive age. The number of extravenous thromboembolic events with NSAIDs use compared with non-use was significantly larger than concomitant use of high or medium risk hormonal contraception compared with concomitant use of low, no risk hormonal contraception. Women needing both hormonal contraception and regular use of NSAIDs should be advised accordingly. So what that's telling us is with use of both NSAIDs and high risk or medium risk hormonal contraception, there is a greater risk of extravenous thromboembolic events, i.e. blood clots forming in a vein. These are just 3 examples of studies showing the potential impact of hormonal birth control after a very cursory look at PubMed, and there are many other studies too, so I do encourage you, if you're interested, to go ahead and do your own research. In the Washington Post article, there's another huge theme. It's all about politicizing birth control. I'm not going to get into this today because I do think a whole episode on this is very important. It's very real and it's a very shocking history about politicizing birth control and women's health. And I believe that not many people, both women and men, really know about it. But ultimately, this is a women's health issue. It shouldn't need to be divided politically as they are doing in this particular article. And we need to put the priority of the health of women above all of this. Ultimately, this is what many women are asking for, to stop being medically gaslit and to stop being heard when it comes to the side effects of either short-term or long-term use of a hormonal birth control. Now, don't get me wrong, the reason why birth control was invented was very helpful for women, and many women do continue to experience positive benefits from using hormonal birth control, which is awesome. And I am by no means saying that women should not have access to birth control if they want it, and if they are well informed of the potential side effects for every different kind of birth control. Informed consent is key here. For the women that are not experiencing the positive benefits, especially after short or long-term use, it is unfair and demoralizing to those women to ignore, invalidate, or censor their experiences about these side effects. It's also ridiculous to say that qualified women providers who do their research, get educated and certified, and who are aiming to help others suffering from the adverse side effects of hormonal birth control, women like Nicole Bendayan and myself, women who are hormonal nutrition coaches or cycle syncing nutrition coaches, etc., are somehow less than as well. It is time to stop this. Women deserve better. Women's health all over the world, no matter what political standing, age, etc. We deserve better. And we can all play a part in this today. So keep sharing your stories. Keep advocating for yourself. Keep being educated consumers. Keep looking for doctors and other medical practitioners that can support you. I'm also going to share a list of practitioners that I support and are amazing for women's health in the description box. And please know that I'm here for you if you're not finding that support as well. Let's elevate each other, our experiences, and continue to change the future of women's health today.